I'm eating my turkey leg over a course of 4 hours yesterday, and I'm watching the Saints play, and they looked so bad, and they lost, and now the Niners are the seventh seed, baby, and it doesn't look like anyone's got to worry about the Saints anytime soon, unless Drew Brees comes out of retirement or Taysom Hill decides. I mean, I don't even know what he could do. It's a Trevor Siemian show. So seventh seed, baby. The sixth seed is the Vikings, who they're playing, so they could go into the sixth seed after this weekend. What do you think of the Niners' path to the playoffs now, Rob, Mr. Negativity?
Yeah, as fans know, I'm always down on the Niners, never looking at the brighter side of the equation. Certainly, it's a glass half empty for me all the time. No, it is the Niners control their own destiny. What a refreshing thing to say. From
Yeah.
here on out, don't get me wrong, there's some nerves that come with saying that because of the inconsistency we have seen from this 49ers team. But my belief is we are rounding into form, that what we are now seeing on consecutive weeks is the team I expected to see from the start of the season, and is the reason I was so frustrated with the inconsistent play by the 49ers to start the season. Because in all of the research I did about this team and looking at the matchups and examining the schedule, I expected us to come out and play the way that we're playing now to start the year. It's not too late. 500. The path seems clear. But this week's game feels like the most important one. And I think that's going to be a common theme going forward, that every week it's going to feel like that week's game is the most important.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. Maybe the Niners aren't inconsistent anymore. Maybe the inconsistency is over. Or maybe they're an inconsistent team that's won two in a row.
Right.
Maybe, like, for example, going into Thanksgiving yesterday, I was thinking, it's funny, we're going to watch the Raiders today, and everyone's just down on them. Like, not down on the Raiders, out on the Raiders.
Right.
Totally out, because they're 5-5, just like the
And
Niners.
so much dysfunction.
Of course, absolutely, but they're 5-5, and so are the 49ers. And it's interesting how, basically the last 3 weeks colors your perspective. The Raiders have lost their coach, their wide receiver, they've lost three in a row. It's all bad. But then they just go into Dallas and win. They beat the Dallas. It was in Dallas. Was it not in Dallas?
It was in Dallas,
It was in
in
Dallas.
Jerry Jones's palace.
They won somehow, some way with an interim head coach. They beat a team that's winning a division. So all of a sudden, you remember, like, yeah, the Raiders are an inconsistent team. The Niners are kind of an inconsistent team. So that's one thing. The other thing is, you're looking at it like, well, the Saints are out. The wild card teams are going to be the Rams, the Vikings, and the Niners, right? So there's really not much at stake in this game. Wrong. There's a dark horse team. It's Philly. Forget New Orleans. Philly's a dark horse team. And I just want to real quickly go through the rest of their schedule and why this game against the Vikings is so important. Here's what Philly has left. At the Giants this weekend.
That seems winnable.
Next weekend, at the Jets. Then they got a bye week. Then they got a home game against Washington. Then they got the Giants again at home. Then they go to Washington and play Washington again. Then week 18, they have Dallas. There's a good chance they could be sitting their starters, considering no one else in this division is any good. And Philly at best could get to 10 wins, but not at best. But they could get to 11. But I think looking at that schedule, I think that team could get to 10 wins, which means that the Vikings and the Niners might be playing for the 7th seed in this game right now.
I think that you're right. I sit with some comfort in the idea that I believe the first tiebreaker for the playoff format is the head-to-head matchup. And therefore, if the 49ers end up with the same record as the Philadelphia Eagles, that they would be ahead. I could be incorrect.
Here's where it gets tricky, though. If it's a 3-way tie at 9 games with Minnesota, and Minnesota wins this game, then I think it goes to something else. So
yeah,
it does get very tricky.
It goes to common opponents next,
something
and
like
that would screw with the 49ers.
Yes. So 7th seed, it's a big deal. That may be where they end up with the 7th seed. If Philly makes it, and it's not really that Philly's better than the Niners. The Niners beat Philly. So the Niners, you could say, are better than Philly, but they're improving. So are the Niners, but then they just have a really easy schedule going down the stretch.
Yeah, as you lay out that schedule, I cannot picture an easier schedule, in particular with the Week 17 matchup against Dallas. You would think, even with a couple of losses for Dallas, it is possible they will have secured their playoff seeding at that point, that they
The
may be
best thing for
locked in
them
to
too is
win the
that Week
division.
14 bye week. I mean, damn,
Right.
that's great. That's what you want. That's almost unfair.
It
So
really
hold
is.
on. So let's say the Niners get the 7th seed. They win. They
Mm-hmm.
beat the Vikings. They win maybe 9 games. They could even lose to the. I don't know. Let's say they get the 7th seed. They finish with the 7th seed. That means they're most likely playing Green Bay, Tampa Bay, something like that. Arizona, maybe.
Yeah, rough
Yep.
matchup. I would
Yeah.
say that any one of those teams would also be feeling that. They would also be saying to themselves, wow, I wish we were playing some other team other than the
Yeah.
49ers. Because when
Sure.
the 49ers are rolling, they are a very dominating team. The complementary style of football that they play when they're playing consistently is very difficult to beat.
Also, they have two guys right now that are playing at like an MVP level. Two guys,
Yes.
Debo and Bosa. Those
Yep.
guys give you a chance. I mean, Bosa is gonna give the Niners a real chance in this game against the Vikings, and so will Debo. Really, if you have two guys like that, you got a chance.
And you could add Trent Williams to that mix. He is
True.
having an
Good point.
amazing season.
That's a good point.
I would argue the most dominant left tackle in the league this year. And that's a very, very important position for the 49ers, considering the inconsistency on the right side of the line.
Yeah, absolutely. So Niners a 7th seed. That may be where they end up. They could probably get to the 6th seed. I don't know if they can get to the 5th seed, but one way or another, it seems like they're gonna, at best, and this isn't. I'm not trying to be negative. At best, they're gonna have a very difficult road game against Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, or the Cardinals. Most likely not. I don't think it's looking like the Cowboys are going to be the 4th seed after losing to like I don't know,
That
projecting too
seems
far
fair.
ahead, but it only gets better
Right.
from here.
So much can change in the NFL from week to week,
True.
right? We go from
Injuries.
doom and gloom to riding high on the
Right.
49ers, and it's because it's such a small sample size that there are 17 games. So from week to week, we have to have wild swings because each game accounts for such a large percentage of your season.